Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you or introduce you to the Notion cosmic calendar that I create each month to show you how you could use it as its own helpful database and also how I use it personally to integrate with my weekly dashboard and other calendars. So this is an example of the cosmic calendar. There's a new iteration each month that comes out at the beginning of the month with the major astrological transits that are happening in the sky. So you can see here, this is a calendar view with the title of the transit, like what actually is it. If you click on that, there's a whole post. So we see what is the transit, when it's happening, and I usually start it in my time zone, so then it's easy to convert if the time is important to you. If the time isn't important to you, you can also just turn off to include time. From here, I also tag it so you can make it easy to filter, like what are the planets and signs involved, and then a summary so that you can get a really quick view. Not everyone is super into all of the nerdiness of astrology. You just want to sort of like cut to the chase a little bit so you can make it really practical. That being said, if you are a super big astro nerd, there are provisions for that as well. So if you scroll down, inside of each post is also a just general description, just sort of elongating the title so you can get a better understanding of what's going on. And then the highlights. So this is more like layman's terms usually. And then prompts, some people like to journal with them or have some personal reflection involved with the transits. And so those are included as well. And you can use all of these or none of these. So most people have preference. If you're someone who likes to track transits and to note, what came up for you around this transit or how you understand some of these topics or prompts landing in your life, then there's also a room down here for your notes so that over time, this database actually can become something that is a very personalized tracker for you and a really nice holder of information because you can use the search function to search back over time and see what's coming up for you, how that's working. Some other things that make this really nice are, of course, using the filters. So again, I like to see the title, I like to see the summary, and you can also look at the tags. You can, of course, adjust that to have different things showing. So if you want to see, the exact date and time, maybe you don't care about the tags and you just want to see the summary. You can, of course, also choose the properties. No, I'm sorry, that was the properties. You can also filter out. So let's say you've had a personal, year ahead session with an astrologer, with me, or with somebody else. And that say Saturn transits are really big for you this year. So you could have a filter and say I actually don't really care about all this other stuff. I want to stay super focused on some of the things that are coming up for me. I only want it where we're talking about the planet Saturn. And then it will only show you those. Or maybe you're I actually just like to know when the, new and full moons are. When are those? And you can also add filters, onto that. I want to know Saturn and the moon. Or I know that Libra is a really important sign for me, or Aquarius is a really important sign for me this year. So I only want to see the signs that have to do with Aquarius or the moon. So you can really adjust the calendar for your needs, depending on what you're interested in looking at or having inform your day-to-day life. So on a personal level, so again, let's say there's also, you have personal transits. So for me down here, this is sort of a more personal where I have my transits, not just the general transits in the sky. How I add them to my calendar usually is I will just duplicate. You would not have to duplicate because you're not trying to keep track of it for anyone else. And I just drag it down. And so now it's landing there. Now that it's in my personal calendar that I've built out, I usually like to also relate it to some databases. You could relate it to the month. You could also relate it to the year to make certain transits searchable by year. You could also relate it to the week, which could be really nice. Oops. weekly agenda. And search for March. Oh, that's the wrong one. And then listed week so you know what it is. So that way when I pull up my agenda for this week, this transit's going to be in there and I can easily click through from the week to here and just see what's coming up and get more of a heads up around it, which I personally find really helpful. I actually already have that in my calendar, but I'll leave it for now. So that's sort of how I do that. And also, you know, if you're someone, again, if you're an astro nerd and you're sort of collecting a lot of different astrological information from different podcast episodes, different posts that you read on Instagram, things like that, the notes section is also a really great place to, again, keep track of all that, to have it all in one place. So if, you know, at the beginning of the month, you listen to a lot of, you know, astrology forecasts and you hear this transit over and over again, you can sort of put in your favorite things or the things that feel most applicable for you. So again, you have something that not only is pulling everything together, it's making it cohesive, it's also making it practical because, again, you can relate it to your weekly agendas, your daily agendas, your monthly agendas, so that you can access that information at the, you know, tip of a mouse, I guess, or the drag of a mouse, the click of a mouse, so that you use as you're planning your week and your days and going about your life. So it just helps integrate the information more, as opposed to it just sort of being siloed in an app somewhere. So I think that's really helpful. So I'll show you now how that's sort of sitting. Let's relate this to demo week. So I've made an example of a week and we'll take a look at how, so this is how that integrates with my weekly agenda, which is where I tend to spend most of my time. It's sort of just enough macro and micro, and this is sort of an adaptation of Marie Poulin's weekly agenda template. Thank you, Marie, for your goodies. And so you'll see here, because it's related, I have the transits that are attached to this week, this theoretical week, happening. And so again, I can easily click on it at the drop of a hat, see, okay, like what's going on with that? What does that mean? What day is it actually? It's example. So that's really, again, a really practical way that that's showing up for me. I also like to have it down here in the weekly agenda as well. So again, it's easy reference. I like the calendar, but I also sometimes appreciate a good gallery view here. Again, with the titles, the dates, the summaries, and the tags. And I usually filter it here so that I'm just looking at what's coming up this month and to something that's coming up on or after today. Just again, to make it really practical, not too much information that I'm overwhelmed. I also sometimes will insert it down here as well if I'm feeling like it. All right, so let me know what you think about that, if that's super fun for you. If you're interested in having, you know, your personal calendar or your personal transits mapped out, that's something I could definitely do with you and for you in a year ahead astrology session. And if you're also interested and you would just think it would be helpful to have the transits that are coming up each month in a Notion dashboard for you, there is a subscription for that that is very affordable, and so you can find out more information for that at the link below.